I am about to start a new project, and before I start the new project, I want to send off the old one in style with a little retirement party. So, this, folks, is the bag I have been carrying for years and years and years just as a tote bag, and it's time to retire this poor bag. It's been through a lot. So this bag started off life as a as handspun yarn that I hand dyed not very well. These color differences are where the skeins were tied too tightly. Knitted a sweater, beautiful cabled sweater, and then accidentally washed it. Well, after all that work, I was not going to just destroy it, throw it away. So I repurposed it. I had enough of the yarn left over that I was able to knit a gusset. And once I cut the sleeves off, this is actually, this V here is where the armhole started. And then I knitted a strap, which eventually died. And then I wove a strap and used overall buttons, coveralls, to attach the strap, which is now my go-to. But I made the holes, I've twice now made the holes too big, and this button just keeps coming out and coming out and coming out. So this is at least a 12-year-old bag, maybe 15, maybe older, I don't remember. And it's worn like iron. When I sewed the gusset in, I had to basically punch a needle through. I think I might have needed something like a hammer to get it through, because this wool, under extra, under multiple washes, because of course I felted it more after the first accidental felting. This uh, this wool was so very sturdy and stiff. So this was a waterproof bag. If I had done a flap over the top, everything inside would have been completely protected. But I think it's time to say goodbye to my poor sweet bag, or to repurpose it into a standing basket. And I have done that before too with sweaters that I've ruined. I would basically just have to put stiffener in the side so that it would stand up on its own, and then use it as a basket. But like I said, it's time to say goodbye to that poor sweet bag. It's done its job well. And my new project, my new tote bag for everyday use, is going to use yarns that I spun, uh, but that are in fibers that are too coarse for wear, and in colors that I just don't go with my wardrobe. Everything in my world is based around black and gray, and then their various complements, blues and greens and purples. And there's just sadly no place for brown in it. And you might ask yourself, rightly, Deb, why did you buy fiber that was brown? And I don't have a good answer to that. I do, actually. Here's my answer. They are breeds that I wanted to spin, or fiber that I wanted to try out. And so that's why I bought them. So let's quickly survey these fibers, and then I'll talk about the next step, which will be the dyeing process. All right, so this medium brown color is gray Suffolk, and see how much we can zoom in. It's a really hairy yarn. Like, there's bits of, I think this is called Kemp, uh, that just stick out of the yarn. And while it is a very lovely yarn in its own right, it is just not going to be soft enough for anything other than outerwear or a rug. And of course, there's the problem of it being brown. And that's only a problem for me. If you like brown, I say more power to you, because there are, oh my goodness, so many truly gorgeous natural shades of brown that sheep come in, and other fiber animals that you're like a pig in a mud wallow. It's so great. The second example of a fiber I wanted to try, a breed I wanted to try, is this natural Valet black nose. And you have almost certainly seen Valet black nose, even if you don't see it, even if you don't know it, because they are widely touted as the cutest sheep ever. And they really are. They're the ones with the little black faces and the little black dots on their knees. And they're just stinking adorable. Their wool is not the softest. I believe that they are a heritage breed or something very close to it. And this was just not the thing that their centuries of breeders wanted for them. They didn't want softness. They wanted other attributes. The other thing to notice about their wool is there are these little tiny hairs of black because of the black knees and the black faces and all that. So Valais Blacknose, adorable sheep, not necessarily something soft enough that you want next to your skin. Finally, I found at a fiber show a particular fiber company called Anarunes had this darker brown color of what was just a roving made from skirtings. So when the fleece from the sheep is laid out on a skirting table, the skirter comes around and removes the less desirable parts from the shorn fleece, the belly wool, the leg wool, the head wool, if there's any attached to the fleece, to leave the best stuff behind. And somebody at Anarunes just collected all the skirted bits that normally are just discarded or used for stuffing or something like that, collected it all and ran it through the roving machine as its own special thing. And this is actually soft-ish. It's softer than these other two, but it's still brown. So this will be a long-term experiment that you all get to share with me. So my first step is going to be to dye them. And what I plan to do is, if I dye the Valais Blacknose at all, it's going to be a very pale shade. And these other two will naturally be darker just because the base color is darker than white. But I don't know how it's going to turn out. So I'm going to put this one, the darkest brown, in a deep black bath. I'm going to put the medium in I'm going to call it a dark gray, but not a black. And I'm going to, at least for now, leave the Valais Blacknose in its natural undyed state just to see what happens. And I'm going to go ahead and do all the yarn. If it all turns out not the way I want, I can always over dye it more black. That's the cool thing about dyeing, is until you get to black, it ain't over. You can always over dye again. And we're just going to see what happens. Then I will weave on my rigid heddle loom a big-ish sample swatch, and I will aggressively finish it. And by aggressive, I mean it's going in the washing machine and then it's going in the dryer, because what I ultimately am going to want is a fabric like the one on my purple bag that it wears like iron. I'm going to want it to shrink as much as possible, and felt, well, full technically, as much as possible. And then I can start planning the design of the bag, whether the woven fabric is going to have a texture or not, and what the construction of the whole bag is finally going to look like. So stay tuned for more.